Now, there's a lot that can be said about this. The first thing I kind of want to talk about is that you're either dealing with a man, this is on page 142, who can and will get well, or you're not. If not, why waste time with him? This may seem severe, but it's usually the best course. There is this tough love approach in helping an alcoholic. Either you want to get well, and this is the way to do it, or you're going to have to face your consequence. It may seem harsh, it may seem callous, and it may seem cold, but it's not. In fact, it deals with a very powerful poison that keeps people sick in the home called enabling. Many well-intended people with their own caretaking or codependent issues of their own try to help people, but in doing so, they're actually hurting them because they're protecting the addiction. They're not protecting the person. They're not allowing the person to reach their bottom, hit their consequences, and make a change in their life. So the advice of this book, handed down for, like I said, 70 plus years, is that if a man wants to get well, you can help him, and if he doesn't, you might as well dismiss him, because he's going to be more problem, he's going to hurt himself more, he's going to hurt your company more. And that termination of that position may be the final bottom to finally change his mind that he has a problem. On page 143 of the book, it says a certain amount of physical treatment is desirable, even imperative. I want you to hold on to that word. And the matter of physical treatment should, of course, be referred to your own doctor. Whatever the method, its object is to thoroughly clear the mind and body of the effects of alcohol. Now, it's important to know that addiction is a sickness, a disease, an illness. And is it a sin? Yes. Okay? It is an affliction that affects both mind, body, and spirit. Okay? And that's why there's so much confusion about this and misunderstanding. But the first out the door issue of getting someone well is to have them medically treated, medically supervised detox. What good is it to take an employee who wants to get well, someone who wants to turn back to be devoted to Christ, and then he doesn't get this medical help, and he dies of a stroke or a seizure or a heart attack because of his detox wasn't medically supervised. This is a medical condition. And in the proper hands, detox can not only be safely administered, it can be as humanely and as comfortable as possible. So why not help the person there? Medical treatment is imperative. These addictions do kill, both in the using and in the coming off of these drugs. That's the part that a lot of people don't understand. So if a pastor says, or a company person says, he's either got to quit or he doesn't have a job, or they just got to quit, there's more to it than just that. Addiction is an illness. Now the next thing is we want to improve profitability. On page 137, it takes real money to train a man for an executive position. This kind of waste goes on unabated. We think the business fabric is shot through with a situation which might be helped by a better understanding all around. Now, if you are a business owner, of course, improving the bottom line is an important thing. Some of this is common sense, but some of this, it goes a little bit more deeply. In other words, if you spend who knows how many years training someone, how many dollars training, equipping someone for a position, and then they work at that position for a period of time and gain expertise and experience, that person has a dollar value to them among other values. And if someone would just be fired for alcoholism or drug addiction, or someone be not employed anymore, that investment, that amount of money is lost. But there's another area of profitability, and this is what's overlooked a lot of the times. If a person is helped, not only is that person salvaged for the company and that investment still safe, but the person who comes back to you, healed, sober, and well, is now worth more to you at that point than they were to you working well, functioning in their addiction. A person, we're going to talk more about this at the end, is given a new way of life, a new heart, a transformation of thought and attitude. And this person is now operating on a different plane. Their integrity increases. Their devotion and gratitude to the company increases. And a lot of the times, I'm sure not a lot of people do this, but a lot of times someone giving back who has been healed, someone working after they've been sober, sometimes you have to pull them back a little bit because they're putting in 12 and 14 hours a day. They're so thankful and they're so on fire with gratitude that they want to show it by their actions. So there's profitability on both sides of the equation. On page 146, it says, after your man has gone without drinking for a few months, you may be able to make use of his services with other employees who are giving you the alcoholic runaround. This introduces the concept of prevention. One of the coolest things and biggest blessings that I have in my job is that when a fellow employee might be suspected of having a problem, who do you think they call to interview that employee? There was a time in my life when I would call somebody and they would hang up and not want to hear what I had to say. And now people are asking me for my expertise. See, a company member who has been healed, who is sober, who has been restored, is an asset not just in the company ongoing, it's not just in his position, but also it pays dividends forward. It's one of those gifts that keep on giving. It's one of those issues that not only did you help this guy get sober, change his life, help your company by doing so, but now he is a resource, now he's an asset to help other people in your company. It's amazing. A person who's walked a mile in the shoes of addiction can spot another person suffering silently, full of shame and hurt, too afraid to come into the light. And that person can compassionately reach that person with a message. In fact, on page 18 of the big book, it talks about an ex-problem drinker properly armed with the facts about himself can win the entire confidence of another alcoholic in a matter of a few hours. And until such a connection is reached, little or nothing can be done for him. We've seen this over and over. Those of us who've been on the front lines and had experienced addiction, whether in our own home or our own life, the people who love us the most, our families, many times are incapable of reaching us. Many times the professionals have a hard time understanding and reaching us. But it's interesting, in the 12-step fellowship rooms of AA and NA, we find understanding and we find people who have a solution and a way out. So this same sort of resource is now going to be available to your employees through this newly sober man. And then there's one more reading I want to put on this point, is on page 148. It boils down to this: no man should be fired just because he's alcoholic. If he wants to stop, he should be afforded a real chance. If he cannot or does not want to stop, he should be discharged. The exceptions are few. We talked about that in another light a minute ago, but I want to show you how this can help in the prevention of this wastage in your company. Now let's suppose you have a man who's been healed, who is sober, who is an asset, a resource for other people in your company who may be suffering from this. Now it goes out that you now have a company policy. This will not be tolerated. Not because of the company, because it's a deadly disease and we want to treat it. So you're either going to get well, and we have people to help you, we have resources to help you, you have insurance benefits to help you, or if you don't get the help, you're going to need to find another job. This will go far in the prevention of this problem continuing unabated in your company, draining your company of countless money like we talked about in the earlier slides.